Guys, we're going to just jump feet first into Murkard here. I don't shy away from controversy, and this is going to probably be my most controversial, unpopular opinion on New World to date. Regarding that Summer Games Fest announcement, Amazon Game Studios is giving you, the PC player base, literally what you've been asking for this entire time, which is more content. But now that the dust has settled from that, we're going to take a look at what is coming up on October 15th. But first, we have to answer a few nagging questions that continue to persist our community.
Is New World Aeternum a separate game?
No, it is the continuation of New World. It is an update to it that brings a ton new.
On the actual Summer Games Fest announcement, I do not blame the devs at all. The decision to drop $250,000 on a console-focused announced trailer was not their decision. This was a decision made by their corporate marketing team. Please note from the March Q&A, Scott said very specifically that they weren't allowed to discuss anything.
That said, we're not allowed to give any real details about what's coming out or what we're going to announce in June.
Guess what? Scott has bosses, and those bosses likely have bosses, and if they say don't say anything about something, then you better believe Scott and the devs better not say anything about something. He went so far to try to drop clues and hints, which we all figured out anyway. Here's my tweet regarding my predictions of the anticipated announcement. Now, although they have not yet announced the deprecation of the Brimstone Fresh Start servers, I still expect that to be imminent. Leaving those designated as Fresh Starts would just confuse incoming console players, and legitimately, after campaigning to keep Lilith Fresh Start, much to the chagrin of the Warloggers, I'm actually all for the deprecation. So let's actually talk for a second about how it is being branded by marketing as an ARPG as opposed to the MMORPG it launched as. I decided that I would ask possibly the most knowledgeable source on the planet about the differences between the genres. ChatGPT. I'll be honest, I found the answer interesting, because as I went back and looked over the specifics, I would actually agree that with the new solo features, which at launch the game didn't have, but players were asking for, the new narrative tools, which again, at launch the game didn't have and players complained, the loot and gear focus the player base has had from day one, that it definitely does have more in line with an ARPG than a traditional MMO. An MMO has a focus on social interactions and gameplay, such as companies, forming alliances, and large-scale raids and combat, while an ARPG has less focus on those social aspects, with a heavier focus on getting loot and acquiring gear. In New World's case, in my opinion, the system is actually better because of all of the crafting options. Or actually specifically, it wants to be Destiny 2 without the FPS aspect. Strong narrative, repeatable activities, rewards that scale with the player, upscale encounters, and the majority of it is soloable, with both matchmaking in the majority of activities and co-op capable predominantly throughout. Although I have heard you can't co-op some of the most recent expansion. Interestingly enough, New World's launch in 2021 coincided with Destiny's first quote-unquote 6-month season due to the delays for the Witch Queen expansion. Ironically, AGS seems to be following the Bungie model of pissing off their community.
Current players get between now and October.
Right now, our focus is on an awesome, clean release on October 15th. In the interim, we are still going to have a summer medley fair, but beyond that, there's not really going to be anything.
Now, I'm going to be honest. The next part is really what bothered me most.
Are seasons going away? When is the next season coming?
No, seasons are not going away. We're committed to the seasonal model and bringing players regular cadence of content. The next season is with the New World Aeternum launch on October 15th.
My man, you literally just said Season 6 starts October 15th. Season 5 ends on like July 1st or 2nd. It's only like 12 days left in the season. And then you say you are committed to seasonal content? Where I come from, if you talk the talk, you need to walk the walk. And that bud ain't walking nothing but absolute thin air. That was a bull-faced lie, and probably the absolutely most offensive part of this video.
I'm a clown, I amuse you.
So what are we actually getting in this release? Swimming, which the player base has repeatedly asked for, although I'm not entirely sure why, to be honest. Swimming in plate armor seems unrealistic to me, unless you're roided up more than the Hulkster brother. Yet, since the game's launch, people have asked for swimming. Now, an important note to this, unverified reports are that there is no stamp degradation and no diving, so it's basically an animated float. So all that self-drowning warp tech we've been using in PvP races, especially in Eden Grove, yeah, no longer viable. The long-promised Cross-Worlds Arena is finally coming to join Cross-World OPR and Cross-World Expeditions. Honestly, I feel this probably should have been released earlier than October, but whatever. New cinematic storytelling and narrative, which again, the lore and the narrative have been criticized since day one. And this type of new tech that they've been describing is a major ARPG feature. Repeatable soul trials, which, again, has been requested since their launch in the Brimstone update.
Dave, is there?
Gear score increase, I don't
Gear
think we
score
mentioned. Did you mention
increase.
solo trials? So,
did not.
So we have these amazing soul trials that you get throughout the MSQ experience, but like you experience them once and then you're like, man, I wish I could do that over. Well, we've got it. Now we've made it an end game experience for solo players. You can do 3 a day, you get cool rewards, you get to see these cool fights again.
Yeah, they're up-leveled so that they are true end game. I think it's going to be super exciting.
What's more important is that they are repeatable and scaled at player level, and hopefully the rewards are scaled as well. So here's a quick random thought. Historically, in New World, gear for repeatable content such as the Hatchery and the Elite Sandworm trial has remained underscored. I literally think AGS could have solved a lot of complaints and a lot of issues had they just upscaled the rewards with these two activities with Rise of the Angry Earth expansion. There will be a new 10-player raid, linear, which if I'm honest, I hope is more than just a third boss. Winterforge is already 2 bosses, so this in my opinion has been doable for a while. Maybe something where you have a mount obstacle course in the middle of the raid or something. But I don't know, I guess we're going to see just how great this new 10-player raid is. The DX12 rendering has been a long requested feature. I know, honestly, I would like that level of rendering, so, you know, at least that tech is coming. And I mean, look, finally we're coming to the PvP free-for-all zone, which, if we're honest, is going to be a lot like the Division's Dark Zone. Musket Union will be on top, while healer mains will be doing others more harm than good. And I mean, literally, that's what players have been clamoring for with their need more content cries. When you look at it from a top-down view, the game actually already has a ton of content with 12 expeditions, a rotation of 3 mutated expeditions, and 3 different PvP modes being arenas, OPR, and war. Wars are the truly most desirable endgame content that is the most MMO-oriented, as these activities leave a lasting impact on the world that we're playing in. One thing that has been asked for from pretty much everybody that does not seem to be coming anytime soon is practice wars or some sort of way to get more players into war. Wars right now are both time and player gated, and the devs do realize this.
Are you happy with the state of wars? What does your data say on the number of players who get to experience them? How do you feel about war loggers?
I mean, I think overall in terms of when you get into a war, I think we're relatively happy about that experience. Maybe the meta's a little bit staler than we want, but like it's a fun, intense experience. So I think what this question is really asking is like, are you happy with the amount of people that get into it? And I think overall the answer is no, right? We wish more people that played the game got into it. Depending on how you slice the data, it's around 2% of people get to participate in this. So it's a very small percentage of players. It's the elite players. Like experience matters so much. Like knowing how to participate is much more important than gear. I mean, all these guys have the top gear anyway.
The fact is that until there is a way for players to put more time into the 50-50 war mode, the situation is unlikely to change, despite some really valiant efforts of some to expand the warring scene, which at this point is and will continue to remain as the ultimate endgame experience. Finally, what is the future of New World? AGS admits they have not historically had good releases.
What is Amazon Games doing with these delays?
We hear you loud and clear on, like, we've not had a great history of releases being clean, and we told you it was a focus of ours, and then we had the season 4, which we weren't proud of.
And yes, while they say they are committed to the long term for the game,
First, nobody is giving up on the game from the developer standpoint.
they do still have bosses, and assuming the console launch does not go as well as planned, we may very well be seeing a maintenance mode or sunset announcement in November instead of a 2025 roadmap. I personally hope that's not the case, but at this point, very little would surprise me. I once was one of the most stalwart believers in AGS to deliver on their promises. But this absolute boondoggle of an assassination job by the Amazon marketing corporate mongers has shook me to my core. I will make one request of the AGS devs or the community people or what have you, and it's already been mentioned in the official Discord, but please release the Uncensored Forged in Aeternum, Eye on Aeternum, May 2024 episode.
Right? Like, I know that when we introduced the sandworm before, that folks were a little concerned because it was... So I'm super stoked for that.
I think this actually may have been a better release after the announcement for the PC players, rather than the absolutely basic dev update that clearly was focused on console players and people not actively playing the game. I know people, for whatever reason, got upset about this video too, but I actually found it kind of funny. And seeing how excited they were about it actually only got me more excited initially for the announcement, which is why when the announcement did happen, I really felt let down. Guys, thanks for watching and hearing me out. This has been Ave Mortem on Marama, but more commonly known as Ad Victorium, Lilith's most beloved invasioneer, reviled influencer, and ice pylon advocate. Smash that subscribe button to be alerted when I once again feel that spontaneous need to create stuff and cause controversy. Good luck, have fun, kill 'em all.